Greetings and hallucinations to all you folks out there, and I can guarantee you you're not hallucinating. This is actually, for real, a Supreme Commander Forged Alliance cast on Wonder Open 5 vs 5, the quintessential 10-player map. This is going to be a big game with a lot of crazy stuff happening, and first we're going to introduce the teams, and then we'll jump straight into the aforementioned action. On the north side, we have a bunch of Aeon players. We've got Momo Uchiha, we've got Mazer Noob, and OK Puck, all three going Aeon. That is the front, right, center, and air. Then we've got Turkish Noob going for UEF on the other center slot, and the left side is held down by a cannabis. He is going Cybran. On the south side, we have Jesus Corp going Cybran. That is going to be a symmetrical face-off. K240 Aeon in the air slot. The two front slots held down by Godzilla. He is Cybran as well as Lil Sid. And then we've got Ish. He is UEF guarding the right side flank. So 3 Cybrans on the south, 3 Aeon on the north, and a smattering of the other factions with not a single Seraphim to be found anywhere on this map. Dang, alien scum might as well have been eliminated. Let's check out these early builds and see what's going on. I see a Mantis out early for Jesus Corp and a Scout. Looks like he's going to be going for a little bit of raiding. Godzilla getting a second air factory down immediately after the Hydro, and it looks like he is setting up for a bit of a mech upgrade with an overbuilt power situation. Probably an air factory. This is the map with no Omni in the center. And so there are a lot of rocks, but there's not any reason to immediately run your commander out and snatch that up, or an artillery or an engineer, whatever you want to use to deal with that mass situation. Also some early raiding there. K240 setting up for a traditional air build, double air factory off the Hydro. We got Lil Sid going for a bunch of P-gens, not many factories and no raiding right off the bat. Then we have Ish, who is also going for a second land factory and spreading out as quickly as he can with his engineers. Got that Mantis headed out towards the front. Economist does have a Mantis in order to return fire, trying to block a little bit of that raiding, and he is going for the overblown Mantis spam build. Already got 7 factories queued up and is expanding, well, as quickly as you can with as few engineers as he has got, but he is grabbing some reclaim here in order to boost his power supply. He is building all of this off of only his Hydro. Let's check out 120 power. He's actually doing pretty dang well, mostly thanks to a little bit of that reclaim early on. Back to observer mode, we have got land and air for Turkish Noob, nothing exceptional. 3 land factories for Mazer Noob, 2 for Momo Uchiha. And he is making a play for a radar out in all of the main positions so that he will know when units are coming his way. In the other air slot, got 1 air factory down, P-Gen queued for another, and going for a hard T2 mechs upgrade right off the bat. Got to get that mass income up. That is what Wonder is all about. It's going to be decided one of 2 ways. Either it's spam and everybody dies in the first 10 minutes, or it is tech and T4 and the game is longer than 30. You really don't see a whole lot that are in between those two. We do have some air scouts out for K240. Nice of him to scout the enemy team. And I spy a T1 bomber for Turkish Noob. Maybe we'll see some engineer kills off of that one. I don't know. T1 bombers are being discussed for a pretty heavy nerf in the next patch that is coming up. But they are definitely worth kamikazing, even if you only kill, you know, the typical 2 engineers I always talk about, or if you're laying in damage to 3 to 4, maybe 5 tanks if you get really lucky with the AoE. They are well worth the damage they lay down to only get 1 pass in. So they are going to be a little more expensive next patch. We may see a little bit of a change in how they're played. But for now, we are still going to see the traditional bomber spam at different points in the games, I think, from these players. Tech 1 land factory going down again for Momo Uchiha. I can never remember how to pronounce that name. I'm just going to call him Momo. We're just going to skip the entire thing. And he has got some heavy assistance down on that factory, building yet more engineers. Here comes the T1 bombers to save the day versus the invading Mantis. Yellow expending quite a few of his units in order to try and pull a run by up here. But he is going to be denied by the combined efforts of White and Green, Turkish Noob, and Akanabis, jumping on that and getting rid of the threat as quickly as they possibly can. Akanabis has moved out to the front, and he is a little overextended, honestly, for what he as behind him. He does have a significant number of tanks, but they're all back in the base, and he is moving dangerously close to what could potentially be a Mantis swarm. There, he just saw it. He is moving back. He's got some intel thanks to his air player, so he knows what choice to make as far as his placement goes on his ACU. So on the north side, we have got a secure hold for Momo in the north corner. Now, there are several extra mass extractors up here. You do want to hold the corner if at all possible, and we do not have any upgrades on Ish. Bear in mind that the Auroras do hold up very well versus ACUs in the T1 stage, thanks to that extra little bit of range. It can be as dangerous or more so of a situation than getting caught up in a Mantis swarm. Jesus Corp, for the moment, has more Mantis on location than does Akanabis, but I think that is going to change rather quickly, seeing as we have, what, 5 land factories down here, and 7 up there, with Ish having his commander on the front line. Up on the north side, some bombers coming in from Ish. That is not Ish. Anyway, bombers from Pink, the hot Pink, not necessarily Pepto-Bismol Pink, but definitely closer to Barbie Pink. Momo Uchilla moving in on him with an unupgraded commander. There is a T1 point defense there, which should do pretty well in holding up against all of these forces, unless Momo walks right in and overcharges it. But he may not have thought that far ahead. Yellow is looking a bit sketchy. I'm a little interested in Momo, who has dropped down below 75% health thanks to that point defense. But this is worrisome. This looks like a pincer to me. We have an ACU moving in. We have lots of Mantis and lots of units cutting off retreat to the south. The point defense is down. More units moving in from Gray to try and rescue his teammate. Meanwhile, Ish is plowing into Red's forces. Momo trying to cut him off as well. Ish is going to have to fall back to his in-place defenses. And I think that is going to be the end of Godzilla, because there is a mighty clump of Mantis that is more than enough in number to eliminate that ACU. He is getting pinched against the hill, and that is going to be the end of the giant lizard of the south. That is going to leave a rather gaping hole, giving access to the air player. Thankfully, that nuke is going to eliminate most of the T1 units in that spot. So that could have been worse, but the south team is going to have to work pretty hard to recover this position. Aurora's around the backside trying to wipe out some of the economy in the rear end. Bombers attempting to deal with it. That is looking like a fairly good play by Momo. Momo does have a significant number of Auroras over what Ish has as far as T1 units go, but he does have some units moving up from the south, so it may not end badly. Over on the left side, taking advantage of all of the troop movement to the right, it looks like Jesus is going to grab a couple of mass extractor kills and get a little ways into the base, but not too terribly far, because there are responses, of course, from that massive amount of land factories popping units up directly into the base. It's always awesome to have a fight right next to your build power. You can respond instantaneously, and holy cow, Momo Uchilla, speaking of responding instantaneously, he did not. He had a move order placed way too far into enemy territory, and I think that might be the death of him. He had more tanks. He had a better position. He had equal economy, and he misstepped. He overextended, and that is going to result in nuclear detonation. We've got 1 loss for the north and 1 loss for the south team. It is still an even game, but right down here we do have some T1 units moving into the base. Like I said, anytime the hole opens up right there, leading to the air player, somebody is going to try to exploit it. And even if you don't make it all the way to the air player, if you can deny all of this reclaim and all of these mass extractors for as long as possible, you're going to come out ahead. You're essentially fighting with one superior economy. And up here, we're not going to see that happen because Ish is pretty much confined to his own base. He is not going to be able to reach out and take control of this expansion the way that Blue is. But we're going to have to see how all that turns out on the north. I'm thinking there is going to be a distinct economy advantage for the other team. Jesus Corp taking fire from a Jester and a handful of Mantis, which is soon to be upgraded to an armload of Mantis, seeing as there are quite a few more moving in. But he does have a couple of tanks coming into his aid. No, White is on the other team as well. He is just completely messed up here. His own Mantis have succeeded in stemming the flow of units, but that is going to be a problem to deal with. We do have 4 or 5 interceptors out for K240. He is more than capable of knocking that Jester out of the air, and hopefully he does so because they do not need to lose another player. Jesus slowly getting whittled down by a couple of T1 units, but mostly that freaking Jester, which is getting pinged repeatedly, as is the air. Maybe K240 is just completely AFK. The other player does have Swift Winds in the air, so he is going to have a little bit of a better time maintaining air control. And Mantis swarming the ACU once again now that the line has been broken. I think that's going to be the end of Jesus. I don't think he will be resurrected either, because once you die in a nuclear fire, I don't think there's any coming back from that unless somehow you manage to teleport out of the area instantaneously right before detonation. But I think that Lil Sid does have a significant point there. Had he acted a little early, K240 might have been able to save that ACU. I'm not saying he could have. There were still a lot of T1 units there. There is a distinct chance that Jesus still would have died, but it's nice to know when the air player actually has your back and is able to save you from a single Jester that probably did 1,500 damage over the course of its lifetime to that ACU. A little bit of an air fight going down out here. There's a couple of T2 gunships which really have no hope of killing Turkish Noob, thanks to the multiple T1 anti-airs thrown down by that T2 ACU. Swiftwind's going to take air control away, and that is going to leave K240 in the dust as far as air control goes. Interesting point of fact, I have seen many times where a T2 ACU dies to something stupid because it tries to build T2 structures. T1 structures have higher DPS per mass, they build quicker, they're online faster so that they start doing damage. If you are threatened by air or a lot of close proximity land, especially if there's a low mix of T1 artillery, it is far better to build T1 point defense or anti-air than it is to try to build T2 PD or flak, because by the time the flak gets finished, you're going to be half dead already. Okay, so we've got some Mantis moving into the base, but thankfully K240 does have a pair of T2 gunships that will be able to kill off a few of them anyway. They're still going to get in, they're still going to do a little bit of damage. Lil Sid is trying to get in there and help out as best he can with the few Mantis he can send that direction. He has got quite a few Cerberus turrets online though, facing off against Turkish Noob, who is being assisted. Not an upgrade though, just sitting there healing up. I was almost thinking that that might be a T3, because that would be the next logical step for a UEF commander that is facing off against a weakened team. You go T3, drop a couple Ravagers, wipe out the front line, and then you use all of these mobile units to just swarm the place. Now, notice that I am not advocating just creeping with Ravagers, although you can probably walk behind and lay one down every once in a while in order to strengthen your position. You gotta have these mobile units in order to take advantage of the space that you just cleared by using that Ravager you built to take out the T2 point defense. Now, there's still enough defenses on the south side where I think K240 has a little bit of breathing room, but if we take a look at the north, we've got 2 T2 PGens. We already have resource allocation down on OKPuck's commander. What do we got? K240 has, does he have ARAS? I was not paying attention to chat. He does have ARAS. Good dealio. So he is in a reasonably good position. He's slightly behind on... No, he is still even on mass production, thanks to the double RAS. So good deal there. He is on pretty much equal footing with the Northern Air player. That is much more than I expected with him having been raided so many times. But cheeky little bastard of a Jester has used about a third of his fuel to fly all the way around the outside edge of the map and hit this rear mechs. And he might actually take it out. We're going to have to wait and see. Interceptors on the north side. A single ASF as well moving to the north, I guess, to protect. Yes, they're going to try to take out these gunships, or at least deny the area here for air. And that mech is down to half health. That might be the best Jester that ever lived. He might be able to take out the giant, so to speak. T1 unit taking out T2 Eco all by his lonesome. Got a couple of range bots down here. Hoplites, of course, do have awesome DPS, and they will live for a very long time if you kite effectively, but it does require some micro. That takes an APM away from what you're investing on the other side. If I were Lil Sid, I probably would have gone for rhinos just so I didn't have to babysit them quite so much. We do have a T3 land factory upgrade going down for him, though. You might be able to get some bricks out, maybe some loyalists. Do a little good in that way. Yes, the ASF killed the Jester, but not before it was able to wipe out that T2 mechs. Stick it to the man, little guy. Here comes another trying to raid, but it is not going to be nearly as successful, thing as the air is already down in the south and ready to take him out in a moment's notice. Couple of T1 bombers moving in. Those are probably going to go for the engineers. Try to kill off some build power, but they did fail. So nice little pickup there. Little Sid asking why zero scouts? Apparently K240 has been preoccupied with other things. The northern team has got some Harbingers online. It looks like Mazer Noob has succeeded in moving to the T3 phase. Early Harbingers, of course, are exceptionally strong. They do weaken up as the game goes on, but in the first part, they are speedy enough to be a raiding unit, high enough DPS to hold their own versus the other main combat units, and to top it all off, they can reclaim what they kill. So if you're ever short on mass, you just kill that handy-dandy T2 mech, suck it up, and recycle that into another Harbinger. It is the circle of life. Hoplites moving in, trying to eliminate some of this stuff. If you will notice, we now have an entire corner, pretty much a fifth or so of the map belonging to Acnibus, however you put the emphasis on that long name. He has got mostly T1 mass extractors, but he has got a lot of T1 mass extractors. So he is up on 73 mass per tick, 4th overall, and 4 up from the bottom. Turkish Noob, Lil Sid, and Ish all falling well below that mark. Let's take a moment to look at Reclaim. Things are not looking too terribly hectic at the moment, so I'm just going to set this out here where you guys can see, and let's flip through. Okay, Puck sitting on 10,000, 8,000 for K240. We've got Acnibus sitting on, well, if it will flip, there we go. 7 grand as well. Mazer Noob on 8. Turkish Noob, who is strangely on the other team, even though and another clan, even though he has a similar name. Got 15k, Lil Sid on 8k, and last but certainly not least, we have Ish on 8,500. So, these guys genuinely do have teeny tiny economies. They have been forced back. They've not been able to push forward and grab much reclaim, although there is a massive, look at all of the reclaim here. They should be snapping this up in order to upgrade their stuff, but apparently there are other concerns. Was Lil Sid stalling? He is stalling for 78 per tick and not reclaiming. I'll let you draw your own conclusions about his 2000 rank. We've got, I'm sorry, that was a cruel joke. If you're not keeping up with the FAF client, there is an in story there, don't worry about it. So this is the reclaim that is available, and a lot of it does fall within the reach of the south side team, so they should be able to reclaim their way out of this mess, but at the moment that is simply not happening. Over here we do have some loyalists sent down to the south end by Lil Sid. He is going to sweep all of this away, try to eliminate this extra source of income for the north side team, as well as getting rid of some of these little pesky raiding units that have been causing some problems over the last few minutes. And is that a fire beetle I spy? It is. Fire beetle and stealth. Well, we might get to see a fire beetle snipe. Have to keep an eye on that. We do have some engineers moving up in a transport. I'm going to grab some reclaim there. North side is expending some resources and some APM trying to snap up that reclaim. Pretty good return on their investment. K240 building a shield over his mechs. He's got some TMD as well. It's probably a good idea, seeing as, yes, there are 2 TMLs over here in this base, as well as the beginning of a Ravager. Here comes the T3 PD creep, and that shouldn't actually be too much of a problem to deal with, seeing as we do have quite a bit of T3 land production. All you need is a few trebuchets, go over there, wipe out that base, you're done. T3 artillery is the bomb. This might be a little bit of a problem, though. We've got some Harbingers moving through the base, wrecking crap, as they always do. Not a whole lot here to kill, honestly, though. Some T1 mechs. There were a couple of T2 right there. Ish had been wiped out before and was just rebuilding, but he is now getting stomped all over again. On the south side, the Loyalists are moving up towards the base just a little bit, but those Ravagers are going to provide some nice denial. They should move more that way. Yes, that is the way they're queued. Outpace the T3 point defense. Of course, if you have all of your mass invested into stationary defenses, then you're not going to be able to defend from mobile targets that simply run around your point defense. So these might actually get a bit done if they get up into this base, seeing as all of that is paused while Turkish Noob builds Ravagers. It might have been a bad decision on his part. 3 more Harbies up in the north. They're going to wipe out what little is left of Ish's economy. He is down to 17 mass per tick at the moment, and a single lonely gunship trying to drive back the Harbingers. It will be joined by a couple of more, but at the moment, K240 has nowhere near enough air to challenge control. Those Loyalists ran into a wild Economist. He is going to overcharge several of them to death, leaving only one that is going to die to a combination of T1 bombers and a Jester. Wow, I didn't know that the EMP was big enough. The EMP is able to affect air units flying over the Loyalist. That is pretty dang cool. Alright, so what have we got now? We've got a T2 transport that is being built perhaps in order to enable this potential snipe that I was looking at. Or has that... Oh, nope, that is not a thing. Okay, he gave it to pink, so that means that we are going to see some form of attempted drop or snipe or something. Janus bombers. There was a T2 up here, but I suppose it has died. Never mind. Okay, so Loyalists facing off against Harbingers. I think the Loyalists are probably stronger, but the Harbingers are not going to go down without a fight. So they are going to get driven out of this general area, but not before a couple of Loyalists go down as well. So that is going to be the end of the raiding up here, at least for now. Some more Restorers moving out from the north side as well. So we have entered the phase of the game where Restorers are hitting the field in a regular manner. Of course, if you have air control, that is a good thing to build because it kind of sort of helps you maintain air control while also doing a bit of ground damage. Not as much as T2, but it does help. The stealth has been loaded. There are fire beetles at the ready. Harbinger is moving south. This could potentially be a bad thing because the Harbies could either kill the transport or sight what is going on here. Nope, transport lifts off. I don't think that was seen. Fire beetles running to the south as well to stay alive. ASF moving in to kill the Restorer, but apparently did not see the transport that was just barely out of reach. That was very, very close indeed. Overcharge is going down on those Harbingers. Little Sid saving that one. And where did it go? Where did it go? Ah, he has flown over here and he has the fire beetles back in the base, seeing as there is currently a little problem with air control. Strat bombers coming in on Ish. How many are there? There are at least 3 in the air that I can see. So he is dodging as much as he can. Aeon bombers, of course, having the lowest AoE, are fairly easy to dodge. But K240 has just lost the entirety of his air trying to kill those bombers. Is he even going to succeed in killing one? No, he is not. And there goes air. But here comes the transport. Question is, will he be able to get around the back? Oh, look. There's another snipe. It looks like multiple people are trying this. I don't know that he's going to be able to get that, though. I really doubt it. Look, there's scouts here that have the Omni, and they are going to be able to pick up any transport crossing as it moves towards the ACU. Although, he does have all of his air over on this side at the moment. He is trying to kill that commander for all he's worth. There are SAMs and T3 mobile anti-air in the area, so those strat bombers are slowly dying, but Ish is looking less and less healthy as time goes on. Perhaps, just perhaps, there will be enough of a gap here where all of the ASF are on this side that transport can slip in. Or maybe he'll just go for green. No, there is a T3 mobile anti-air right there, as well as some flak, so that would not end well either. No, I don't think that's going to work. Anyway, over here on the right-hand side, that Valiant Restore is going to go down. It was trying its bestest to deny this area, and alas, its bestest was not enough. SAMs are probably a good idea. Good call there, man. And on the south, this presents a bit of a problem. We have Flapjacks, which are able to take out the lonely Cerberus turret defending the south border. The Loyalists are coming in to go to the rescue, but yeah, they'll get there in time. None of this was moving in, and it looks like now that the Cerberus turret has been eliminated and he sees what is coming, White is going to pull his units back. So he is being a little bit careful, doesn't want to lose everything, but he is still going to lose something to, oh my goodness. Can he not see that? Okay, so the ASF are not moving. We've got a drop. Okay, Puck is not defended. He isn't even looking. No overcharge, nothing happening. And there he goes. Oh, good lord. What? Mazer Noob immediately throws out the rehost. Please, pretty please. My air player just died in a ridiculously stupid manner, and I do not wish to continue with this game. Let's just all exit this and start another one. Oh my goodness. Well, all is not lost. The air player has died. I don't understand. Scouts on the sides. Well, you just weren't zoomed out and looking at it, apparently. It's a problem that I suffer from myself, along with a lot of people who play this game, if I am reading what people say correctly. This is not over, though. Not by a long shot, because we have a T3 UEF ACU out in front with anti-air protection and a whole lot of units at his back. We've got some fire beetles and a highly teched up base. No, it is not. Yes, it is. He's got a pile of T2 mass extractors over here, 123 income, more than enough to drop a Monkey Lord. We've got a lot of T3 mobile anti-air on the north side as well, with quite a bit of tech and build power behind Mazer Noob versus a beaten and battered southern team without much air combat capability. He needs to snipe this ACU if they're going to have any chance at all, because if things remain as they are, I think it is still doom spelled out for the south team. He is building Mercies, which might actually work, seeing as he has 0 anti-air right next to his ACU. He has got the SAMs back in base, but if the Mercies come in from this direction, we might get to see a Mercy snipe this far into the game. But no, it is going to be a Strap Bomber that comes out, apparently of its own accord. Yes, he is pulling that back. Oh, Turkish Noob has the Commander's shield, but his shield is stalling because he has no power. He is building more shields, even though he has no power. I don't really understand the logic here, but you know what, bro? You can do what you want. I just hope that somewhere in the back of the base, someone is building some P-Gens. This might actually be why he's power stalling. He is reclaiming all of the T3 mechs and various and sundry other items that are in the air player's base, so that could very well be... Oh crap, I missed one. It would not be a brink cast if I didn't miss an ACU explosion. That was death by Harbingers. All of those Harbies moved in, encapsulated that ACU in a nice, delicious, crusty goodness of shielded Harbingers, and that ACU is going to go up in flames to Strat Bombers and Restorers. Ish is looking like he's in danger as well. We might see many, many nukes in the same spot. The smoke isn't even going to clear. No, he is running. Restorers are in. He is probably going to be overcharging several of those to death. He's got 4K power income, and he does have an energy storage, so he will be able to overcharge like a madman. Mercy's coming in, eliminating a Harbinger, dropping the shield on another one, but it is not enough. There goes little Sid. He is out of here. That leaves only K240 out of the 3 players that were remaining on the south side team. That is abysmal. Wow. So, I bet you guys haven't seen Death by Reclaim before. I think that shield stutter let slip through just a few too many bombs, a little bit too much damage on the ACU, and it was all thanks to the fact that instead of keeping his shields online, White was greedily going after all of the extra reclaim. When your comm is in danger, more mass is not as important as keeping your shields online, because there is no way that he would have died to that if he had simply stopped reclaiming and retreated to his SAMs. That was a bit disappointing to see. All we need now is K240 to build some strat bombers. He does have one already. He is building a GC and he is building restores. Why you no build strat bombers? All you'd have to do is build strats. That's it. They have no air. They have no capability to defend themselves against T3 air. You're going to send your only strat bomber to kill mexes at this point in the game, where that is pretty much entirely pointless thanks to the awesomeness of reclaim. You either need to kill power or you don't need to go at all. Kill power or save up enough to kill an ACU. One or the other. Here are some ideal candidates. Here's another one, which is not shielded. You should be able to kill that. Also, ACU standing in the midst of a PGen field. But he is building some SAMs, so that is probably not going to be an opportunity that stays open for very long. Blue is spreading out a bit. He is building all of the mass extractors that he possibly can over on the right-hand side, and he does have Harbingers to the front. Why they're not reclaiming, I do not know. And on the left-hand side, we are missing a couple of mass extractors thanks to that bomber, but there's plenty of anti-air to go around. And holy crap, there's a megalith. The megalith is going to be done rather quickly. There's 187 mass income ticking away into his bank account and immediately being expended. I'm sure we all have months like that where you're like, holy crap, I had more overtime and made more money than I ever have in my life this month, and my car broke down. That is the subcom equivalent. And the GC is done for Mazer Noob. He's going to have to run down here to the south side as quickly as his little twinkly toes can carry him, because there is a half-completed GC for K240 as well. Hopefully there is going to be plenty of anti-air to be found. The additional Harbingers over here on this side, which are thankfully eliminating another restorer. So anti-air Harbies, way to go there. They'll be able to join up with that GC and be able to deal a lot more damage. It looks like Blue is also ramping up air production, probably why he was building power. He's got another PGen and is building a T3 shield to cover those, and then is planning another Galactic Colossus. So we now have an air challenge. K240 missed his mark. He has not built strat bombers. He has not sniped another commander, and that is going to put him in a bit of a tough spot. He does, however, have an absurd number of restorers, so he should be able to drop that Galactic Colossus without too much effort, and he is going to finish his GC very, very quickly. Mazer Noob pulling in 500 mass per tick. That cannot be a solid number. No, it is not. 302 looks like the real number, but he is killing in a lot of reclaim, which is feeding that machine of war that is kicking out these Galactic Colossuses. Restorers moving over to the right-hand side, going to eliminate the Harbingers where there are no anti-air. That's going to decrease the combat capability of his opponent, and he is not going to lose a single restorer over it. GC moving out to the front, going to lock in with the opposing GC, and hopefully these restorers can come over and deal enough damage to keep this alive with half or so health. If that is the case, he might actually be able to win this by ramming a Galactic Colossus up into the other guy's base. He does need to pull those restorers back very soon, though, seeing as there is tons and tons of flak moving in from that side. 46 out of 999, 999, which is not bad at all, and he probably will pick up a veterancy as he marches northward and kills a few things. Lil Sid, take reclaim, please. Why would I need reclaim when I can just build things and I have a massive economy? Well, 202 is not exactly massive, but he is building a GC anyway. If he was able to grab all of this stuff up here, he would be able to build many, many more units. And that is the goal of this game after all. GC moving up. It is probably going to make it to the base. Yes, before that GC is complete. Power stall problems plaguing the north side. I think we're about to have a second player die to the fact that he did not quite have enough power built. Mazer Noob running to the back end, trying to get out of reach. So much anti-air, all the restorers dying. Is there going to be a method of escape? We need a transport. We need something. Something's got to give, otherwise Major Noob is going to die a horribly painful death by staring contest. South side, GC is about 60%. Megalith is 75-ish. GC getting to within range of the ACU. There are mercies, excuse me, flying northward, trying to hammer down. Oh no! This E2 transport flew in the way, got between two people in a horrible staring contest to the death, and it died. Now there is no more blue. It's a 1 versus 1 between Akinibus and K240. Although if that Megalith comes online, this may end badly for K240. Because there is an absolutely positively absurd number of flak on the field. Should be able to take out anything that he throws in that direction. And the Megalith with a bit of micro should be able to 1v1 separately both of those GCs down with the assistance of some of the bricks and other things that he has at his disposal. So that GC is very nearly done. K240 is probably going to try to use this one to defend, and it looks like he's going around the back with the north side GC. All the more power to him. Maybe he'll be able to snipe off that commander. It is being pinged. It has been scouted. They know where it's at. Question is, will he actually kill the thing? He is marching the Megalith to the south still. So it looks like he is going to try to just go for a brute force ram right into the ACU. And there are Monkey Lords building. Akinibus getting an upgrade. Not sure what it is. It looks like he does have stealth and gun. Or is that cloak? Let me go look. I'm not entirely familiar with my... Yep, that is stealth. Okay, so the cloak has the whole ACU under it. Not sure what he is getting at the moment. We will find out in just a bit, should he survive. GC running to the north, totally evading that Monkey Lord, or not Monkey Lord, Megalith, it looks like. GC moving in. ACU wants to finish the upgrade, but that involves a whole new kind of danger because the engineers are going to clog up the pathfinding of that unit. GC moving back in order to protect ACU. GC on the north side is in reach of the ACU, and that is that. He stopped the upgrade, but it is far too late. There he goes. And that is game. Good Lord. Well, that was kind of like an apocalyptic scenario. I think that is officially a game where you can say that everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong. Accidentally missed. With radar and vision contact, a beetle snipe, and then multiple deaths due to power stalls and forgetting to walk your ACU and everything else. You know what? It's a typical team game. Dumb stuff happens and it is all good. Anyway, that is the game. Congrats to K240 and the Southside team for winning that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.